Aaron Lewis from Liberty Norfleet here with Tommy Lepore here from Hello everyone, welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast. Today we have prep baseball talk and I am joined to my right here, Matt Shadow.
Hello, good sir.
How are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Good. We are hoping to get Kevin Mulder in on this conversation today. Hopefully we'll have him in here a little bit later. But we appreciate you joining with us today. And as always, YBMcast powered by Game 7 Baseball. Game7baseball.com. Had a good conversation with Mr. Pinning. They got their stuff up on their site already. They got some good stuff happening.
Yep, they're always ahead of the game.
They are. Saw you guys are back out for your second annual Midland Invitational with Game 7. It was good last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it went well. The first year is always the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
But now having year two, we're good. I think we'll be good. It's everybody's used to playing in it. Everybody enjoyed it. And it's good to have everybody in one place for us because then we can see everybody at one time.
That's an interesting point. You kind of get a feel for teams. You can go out and see teams you want to see what's going on, how things are progressing, right?
Yes. We do that anyway, but it's also, I think it's more of a camaraderie thing with everybody because everywhere you look when you're because we have it at BMAC, it's just there's Midland teams everywhere. So it's fun for us. And we had a lot of good teams in it last year. And we got a lot of good teams coming back. So
very good, man. I'm looking forward to it. We did the 14U championship game out there. It was a good weekend. There's a lot of good baseball played in the 14U level that weekend as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So I look forward to it. We'll probably be out there again. I haven't put that schedule together. We're going to reveal that probably sometime in February. What dates we're going to be out at Game 7. So we'll have a lot of fun. Also wanted to. I like doing this. Some social shout-outs. We got just at the top, I saw this yesterday from the Midland Bandits, Isaac Boss.
Yeah, he committed to Evansville.
Yeah.
Yeah. D1 not too far from home. I'd say it's probably, 3 hours. They gave him an offer that he couldn't refuse. And good for him.
Yeah.
He's a great kid, works hard. And he's the type of kid that I think they're going to get a steal before it's all said and done.
Yeah, very good. Well, and two, you think about it. Here's another kid. They got Kenton Deverman coming over there, too. That's two out of this area. He's a pitcher, evidently.
Yeah, yep.
So that's pretty good.
He's a I don't know if people remember Josh Newell went to St. Charles West. So Josh Newell's at Lindenwood now. Josh was always a two-way guy, and Kevin and I always have this conversation that once they stop playing the field and start pitching, only it saves the arm and their velo rises and it stays there. And I think Isaac is going to be one of those kids like Josh, because Josh at Lindenwood now is thriving. And even talked to Coach Blutzer, and he's like, "We got to steal." I was like, "Yeah." Because he's doing very well, and he's a hard worker. And Isaac reminds me of Josh in that realm of once he just does pitching, I think it's going to really click for him.
And I think it's interesting because I remember it was a couple years ago. He played on your national team, and you guys were in Atlanta or something. And he went out and pitched a gem.
That was this past summer, the beginning of June at PBR's NPI, the National Program Invitational at Lake Point. Yeah. Yep.
And that kind of gives you a glimpse of what you're talking about. He was just there to pitch, wasn't playing, and just focused on that. And I think the mental part of that, I don't have to think about hitting. I don't have to think about these things. I don't. All I got to do is focus in this one area and bing, bang, boom.
Yep.
Yeah. Another one, Riker Benz, he's been playing. He kind of goes everywhere and plays. He was with, it looks like it's Prime Force, was playing down in Arizona. They won that. Shout out to those guys going down and playing, getting a championship. How Baseball tweeted Bryson Naputi committed to San Jacinto community college. I guess it's quite the powerhouse.
Sanjak is in Texas. Yeah,
Yes.
They are a powerhouse. Sanjak is them and McLennan down in Texas are the two big ones down there. You can put if you pick their top two arms, they could probably compete against anybody in the country.
Wow.
So that's a school that, I mean, he's going to be with dudes. So, I mean, you got to show up and get ready to go. I mean, it's the equivalent of being in the D1, a Power 5 D1.
Right. That's big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge move for him. He's going to be a senior at Francis Howell this year, so congrats to
He's
Bryson.
a good player.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And they get a couple kids from up here every now and again.
That's interesting, But from what I understood, he went down and played in a summer league in Texas this past season. So that doesn't surprise me, right?
That'll do it too.
Exactly. I got a shout out here. Brooks Kettering from down at the Midwest Mavs, senior at Glendale, committed to SEMO, and he had a good fall. 447 batting average, 1554 OPS, 4 home runs.
Yeah, we were just talking about SEMO because they haven't picked up a lot of high school kids because they've been hitting the transfer portal pretty hard. So I'm great for him. It'd be fun to watch him and curious to see how all that transpires.
Yeah,
over the next couple of years.
Had a good fall, man. That's pretty good. That's putting up some big numbers there. Recruits baseball wrapping up a fantastic fall season. 11U Nationals. Shout out to those guys. Flashing some rings there. I think that's cool. I like just doing that stuff. That's cool for me. Here's one that I think is Jeremiah Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Wow Factor down there. 26 games in the fall. This is averaged 528. His OBP was 649, a 1347 OPS, 698 slugging, 28 hits, 21 singles, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 15 RBI, 27 runs, 17 base on balls. He struck out 12 times, 27 stolen bases.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player. He can run, he can hit, and I think the thing for him is if he can cut down the strikeouts, I think then the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, that's 12 strikeouts. That's a little bit
of.
When you can
run,
yeah,
you got to keep those down. But he's
young.
He's young.
He's young.
Got a long way to go.
And if you don't, I'm not quite sure yet what high school. I think he's going to be a freshman this year in high school. But they're playing competition. Lake Point, they're in Emory, so this is putting it up against some pretty good competition as well.
Yeah, you're just playing. I'm sure they're playing the best that they can play in the fall.
Yep. I like this one here from. This is Festus. Player development. Congratulations to our 2022 JCC All-Conference Tigers, or JCAA, I should say. So Prost, Moore, and I don't know the first names. I should have went and looked, but because I don't have this up. But and I didn't do it. I forgot to do this.
You're not supposed to admit that to everybody.
I do. You know what? Sometimes you just don't get it all done. And I'm sorry about that. Armin, I think that's Kissee. Kissee. Kissee?
You're asking the wrong person. I have no idea.
I don't either. So we'll leave it alone. There you go.
Miss Producer might know.
I don't know.
Producer? No.
No. I don't think she's got it.
No. Mr. Producer is gone, so we have Miss Producer now.
Yes. Yeah, Lauren's over there handling the business. So, but we wanted to get into.
She's ignoring us.
Yes, she is. She's on her phone.
She's researching.
She's researching, producing over there, getting stuff done. I don't know.
We're gonna nickname her instead of Miss Producer. We're gonna nickname her Super Producer.
Super Producer.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
So we have Mr. Producer. Now we have Super Producer. You're welcome. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I like that. All right. We're starting to. Last week we did a little preview of our the GAC game of the week. Kevin and I went through. We got the schedule, so they're actually in pretty much the South. Holt is in the South now.
Mm-hmm.
They're a 5A school. Man, Holt in Class 5, dude. Yeah, I think they got a serious opportunity. I mean, I'm just because you weren't here last week, but
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, but you can't count out Zumwalt South. They got all those young players coming back.
Well, and Holt lost a lot of the senior leadership, so to speak.
Agreed. But they've got some good talent at that were coming up there. Zumwalt East is bringing kids back.
So did they move Holt down because of the size of the school?
Enrollment. Yep.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah, because
so my guess is because where Holt is located, it's pretty much the old section of like the Lake St. Louis Winsville, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot getting built around it, but it's not necessarily homes.
Right.
It's more industrial. So, and a lot of those kids, I think, have moved to Dominic. Because
Really?
Dominic's right there. So I think a lot of those people have moved to Dominic, where you go to the other side, where you've got the Timberlands, Liberties, and
North Point.
North Point.
Yep.
Where that's where all the homes are being built back in that section, which is south of 70 and 64 down there.
Yeah.
So they're going to get the kids. Holt's in the old section where they're not getting the kids. And I think people that came up, a lot of those people went to Dominic.
That's interesting.
Because Dominic's enrollment has skyrocketed.
Yes, they have. They've done a lot, though, at Dominic to improve the school,
They've done a lot.
Visibility, too.
Well,
you
they've
couldn't see
hired
it.
people, the right people, to get the enrollment up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, Dominic is going to be somebody, I think, in the near future that's going to be more of like a CBC DeSmet type of school.
Yeah.
To compete with those type of schools.
I agree. But it'll be interesting, and of course and then we looked at the North with it'll be interesting. North Point is in the North Division with St. Charles West, Warrenton. I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic there. St. Charles West has kind of been dominating that conference for the last few years. So it'll be interesting to see how North Point gets in and climbs into that. I think we're still, year or so away from seeing what they've got really that way, but it'll be fun to watch.
North Point, again, they're in a great spot. They're going to have kids for 25 years.
Days. Exactly. So we did that a little bit, and we'll come back to the GAC conference, but we're going to take a look. I've been doing some research, looking around the state, looking at conferences, what schools are in conferences, and starting there because, we'll get to district play. But, there are a lot of kids that there's a lot of teams. That's the first thing. We kind of forget about conference play, but that's the first goal on most lists is win a conference.
It's the goal for the coach. I don't know if it's necessarily the goal for the players all the time, but the coach is the one that then has to instill that into the players. Like, hey, our goal is to win the conference,
right? And
then our second goal is to win this. So it's goals that you strive for throughout the season, which is why you take we're talking about, this conference, the Metro Catholic Conference in general. You take a CBC, they want to beat DeSmet, right?
Right.
That's just a rivalry. They have a rivalry, I'm sure, with everybody in their conference, but do CBC and Chaminade have the same rivalry at baseball as they do, say, in basketball? Probably
not. No.
So for the baseball side of it, you take CBC and it's, hey, yeah, we want to beat Chaminade, but we're about to play Francis Howell after this, and I want to beat them because we're going to see them in the playoffs.
Right.
So
and I think that's an interesting dynamic too, is because we saw let's hear. We're going to look a little bit here at the Metro Catholic Conference. is Chaminade, Christian Brothers College, CBC, DeSmet, SLU High School, and St. John Vianney. And here you have Christian Brothers, CBC is good at everything. They seem to be, right?
Yes.
I don't know much about basketball, but they seem to be pretty good at everything.
They're good at everything.
With that kind of enrollment.
Correct.
And here's the thing, Matt and I were looking at these are all boys' schools. So your enrollment here, for instance, let's just take a local here, like a South or an East or a West, and your West may have an enrollment that's close to SLU High School at 1,400 kids. But that's boys and girls. And just in statistically, women outnumber men. So that factors into this. So now you take that, say it's a 60-40, you have 40% of that 1,400 students that you're pulling from rather than the whole 14. Now, not everybody's there for athletics, that's or the same athletics or anything, but it's still a bigger pool of players to choose from in that respect.
Yes, it's. But I mean, SLU's also it's an expensive school. Yeah, it's a school that you're going to get a lot of the Ladue, the Kirkwoods, the Websters. You're going to get more of the higher end type of areas. Just if they're going to go private, normally that's where they're going. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're always good at sports, but it's not an easy school. I've had kids that have gone to SLU.
Have you?
And yeah, I mean, private schools are different because if you don't meet the criteria,
you're gone.
You're gone.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's why they're private, because they can do whatever they want.
You meet the academic requirements. Because that's what it's about. You know, they're all college preparatory schools. That's where you get prep schools from, right?
Yes. Yeah. And like a public school will give you, if you have more challenges when it comes to learning, the public schools are better equipped for that. I'm not saying the private schools aren't, but that's
right. That's not their focus.
Correct. It's not.
It's not their focus.
On the athletic side, like a SLU and a CBC, and DeSmet has done it in the past too. I don't know if they still do. At freshmen, they'll have two teams because they get so many kids at freshman baseball. So they'll have two teams so they can take more kids. I don't think Vianney or Chaminade do it. I could be wrong though. They may. I know CBC and SLU do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, SLU's 1,400 kids. That's a lot of kids.
To your point, here St. John Vianney on their website, varsity baseball. Mm-hmm. Then they have freshman Eagles, freshman Lions, then JV baseball.
Yeah, so Vianney has two then as well. Yep. So
they're to your point. As we're looking at this, it'll be interesting. SLU has just a B team and a C team. So there you go.
I mean, they could have 40 kids on that team. They just play each other.
Yes, and that could be and that's the thing, we don't know in that respect. So that's true. But to your point, we just see it right there. There it is. I don't know about the other ones. In 2022, CBC had varsity baseball, junior varsity, sophomore, and freshman. So they had 4 teams. It's split up by.
Yeah, I'm sure they take a lot of the freshmen and move them up, and then they keep the other freshmen there, so they have a sophomore JV, so you can move kids down.
So guys are still playing.
I mean, it's a minor league system for them. That's what it is.
It really is, isn't it? And then Chaminade, couldn't really tell. In baseball,
Chaminade to me is the most interesting school of every school that's in the area.
Is that right?
Because of what they can do with the housing. Their basketball program has been dynamite.
Yeah.
I mean, they can bring kids in from anywhere and they can put them up in housing. And Chaminade, I think Chaminade might be the most expensive school. think maybe them in MICDS.
Is that right?
They used to be. I don't know if they still are. I don't have that number in front of me, but I mean, look at their enrollment's only 824 people.
Right.
So that is a very good school. That is a college campus. Have you ever been to their school off Lindbergh?
I have not.
I've
drove by it, and that's about
that is
the
a
extent of
college
it.
campus.
Okay.
It's good. It's old. It's very old school.
Preparatory. That kid
Correct.
you send your kid there, drop them off.
But it's got it reminds you of like an old East Coast college, small.
Kind of like Dead Poets Society.
Yes,
movie.
correct. There you go. These kids don't know what that is, but us old people know. Yes, that's exactly what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Now, inside, is it that way? I have no idea.
Right.
But
right.
That place is impressive.
So, and it's interesting here looking at the baseball. They have a varsity BC team, but then they have 8th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade baseball as well. So they're doing
feeders.
They're doing feeders. And I thought it was interesting here. They got the bowling number 1 team and bowling 2 team. So they got some bowling going on there, which I think is cool. But then the other thing, that the new one here is esports.
What is that?
Esports, the electronic sports. Chess, Fortnite, Minecraft, Overwatch, Rocket League, and Smash Ultimate. So they have esports there at Chaminade.
Could you imagine spending, let's say, $30,000 for your kid to go to school and he's going to play Fortnite? Is it? Can you do that? I don't know if that's a thing or though.
It's there.
Super producer, do you know? Let's Google Box it.
I mean, wow. It's there.
Correct, but can you, like, if let's say my kid becomes really good at Fortnite, do I go to Chaminade and say, hey, give him a scholarship because he's
very good at
Fortnite? He's top 100 in the country in Fortnite.
And so if Chaminade is sending a team to compete, are they winning championships and stuff? I mean, I don't know.
Official competitive Fortnite esports league is coming to high schools and colleges.
Wow.
Now, they didn't hear that, right?
No.
So an official competitive Fortnite esports league is coming to high schools and colleges.
And college. Well, there you go. A competitive esports Fortnite league is coming to high schools and colleges. Wow. There you go, bro.
So you're saying I need to just get really good at one video game that's going to take over and you're going to sit in a beanbag all day and just play.
Take over the world.
Everybody that is older is looking back at their life and going, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong?
What am I doing this for?
Why am I not playing Fortnite all the time? Oh, that's right.
Or
because I need to make money off of it.
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Ultimate Smash. That's it. That's the road.
Interesting.
That's the next one. So let's talk some baseball. It did hurt. We know this. CBC, again, they lost in the district final, I believe, last year. Didn't quite get there. SLU also lost to Francis House Central in the final 2-1. So those two teams, DeSmet had a pretty good season. I think Coach Tim Canavan there will get that team in the right direction. They have talent.
Yes.
And I think he's a quality coach. He's won a title. He's at MICDS. He was at Lindenwood before he took this job, and so I think DeSmet is going to be a team that will, I think, be in the mix again this year.
I mean, CBC is the team to beat in this conference, and they're one of the
Most
teams
assuredly.
to beat in the state.
Yes.
They got injury bug hit them last year, I think, at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
They have obviously some really, really good players in Zanatello, Cameron Poe. in Caden Peer. I mean, those are 3 kids that are top 10 in the state, according to Kevin, going to Arkansas, Duke, and Mizzou. So, again, it's going to come down, and now they're seniors, so that changes the game. So I think it's, for them, it's back to the beginning of this. It's not, hey, win our conference and we're happy. It's win state or bust for them. That's pretty much what it's going to come down to. And I'm not saying that the other schools don't have talent, but they don't have what CBC has. And so I think also, you've also got like Jake McGee going to Mizzou. He's a 24. He's not a senior.
Kyle Byrne also coming back, a senior, left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, I mean they have plenty of talent,
and
I think they're the team to beat in the conference.
Not to mention, you're going to have Jake McGee. Now he's coming off the Tommy John surgery. I don't think he's going to be pitching, but he's going to be able to play. He's going to be able to swing the bat. So that's going to be something right there. And we'll see what's coming up from their JV squad and how that works. But you're right, and like you said, pitching wise, I don't think they're going to be losing Charlton or anything of that nature. Well, which they lost him last year,
right? Because he got hurt
mix anyway, right?
But you've got like Zanatello can pitch,
mm-hmm.
and then you've also got Cameron Poe, left-handed arm, going to Duke,
right?
So, and then there's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head, but either way, they're
stacked, and they're going to be stacked, and
they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the gist of it. Now, I think, as I said, I think the interesting one to me is DeSmet. They played a lot of close games last year. They were right there in the district. They got a good coach. So I think it's going to be, what do they got coming back here?
Well, they've got Josh Cunningham, right-handed arm,
mm-hmm.
going to SLU.
Yep.
That's a good arm for them.
Sam Cardwell coming back.
Yeah, he's a Maryville commit.
So, and I think it's just going to be, can they hit? Can they do enough that way? And they had some guys that did pretty well as far as offensively last year. Luke Burns is right there, an outfielder. Luke Burns is a really nice player. I think so. There's a lot of talent in that pool. So I think DeSmet's going to be right there.
I think the thing for DeSmet is with Canavan, it's probably going to take a couple of years just for the culture that he's going to want to ensue.
Agreed.
So, but I mean, there's places to do it that are a lot more difficult than DeSmet. So I wouldn't think it would take that long for the turnaround.
Right. I don't disagree with that. I mean, and you look at let's look at this here real quick. I want to see this here. Dun dun dun. I know it's here. Standings. Okay. Because last year, and this is the conference from last year, CBC was at the top, 22-11, 6-2 in the league. Okay, SLU was 20-15, 4-4. Vianney 18-17, 3-5 in the league. Chaminade was 3-5 at 16-16, and DeSmet was 14-15 at 4-4. So, you see all these teams with sitting right at that. The Vianney, Chaminade, and DeSmet right at that 500 mark, hovering right around there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the two at the top, as we talked about, CBC and SLU. And I think CBC and SLU right there, that's what we're dealing with. Vianney's going to be interesting because all their guys are starting to mature. They had that big freshman class, and they're starting to come in. Will they make a jump into that this year? I think that's going to be a big key, and we'll look at their lineup here in just a minute. Chaminade at 16-16. I'll be honest, I've never paid much attention. I umpired a game with St. Dominic and Chaminade a JV game many moons ago. That's the only time I've ever seen Chaminade. And
Did they not invite you back?
Actually, they probably would have. But no, it was a good game. I mean, Dominic won.
They didn't invite you back. That's why. That's why we're
we
here.
won't talk about.
That's why we're here. All right, got it. See that he avoided the question.
No, that's evaded the question.
Okay, yeah,
Evaded.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chaminade lost the Weber family, so they're gone. They've been there since like '85. It feels like. All very good players. I don't know what else Chaminade has.
Right.
So, Vianney, like you said, they've got a lot of young guys coming up. They're all going to be sophomores. They can make a run at the end, playoff-wise, based on matchups. Now, I just don't know how they're going to do when it comes to in conference against the CBC.
Yeah.
Or even against a SLU, because, SLU's got Shear coming back. He's a 23 going to, where's Shear going to? Northwestern, Garrett. I think it's how you pronounce the last name.
That's why you see a lot of these preparatory schools like that, Northwestern, SLU, whatnot. Those are brainiac schools.
But he's also a good arm.
Yep.
So
yeah, and they'll take that, and that bodes well for their program. Well, and I think it's interesting here. You look at the early part of the year with Chaminade. I mean, they played Summit. They won one, lost one, but then MICDS, Timberland, St. Louis Patriots, John Burroughs, Marquette, all losses. And those are big schools. Those are programs that were in the mix, talking to that. So they lost to CBC then twice. They lost to Logan Rogersville. Logan Rogersville was in the Final Four in Class 4 last year. So
they're playing a tough schedule.
yes, it's not like they're playing chump change.
Right.
And so to finish where they did schedule-wise, I think they did pretty well. They beat SLU twice, so in conference, and split with Washington, beat Parkway West, which was
Yeah, they've got the Pellegrin kid on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
He's a left-handed arm. I don't think he's committed yet. But any mid-80s lefty is going to be good.
And they had some good wins down the stretch, beating Lafayette 3-1. They beat Westminster 10-5. Pacific had a really good year last year. They beat Pacific in Pacific. So, they finished off with a pretty good win-loss record there, finishing that season after kind of a rough start.
So they're playing good teams. I don't really know a lot about them.
No, and I'll tell you, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because I didn't either. And if we're going to talk, and that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these teams. We get to know them a little bit more, see what's going on, and it gives us an opportunity to talk about this and look at these teams and teams that we may not look at before, right?
Yeah, the other thing is, like, you take SLU's obviously going to be good, but you have an arm, and they've got two because they got Dumont, who's going to Tennessee. That's another kid that, when he's on, he could beat anybody.
Right.
So, which, you save him for those games because you want to win your conference, coach. That's what it comes down to.
And here's the other part of this too. District-wise, when they got into district play, they beat Westminster in district play and then lost to Parkway Central 13-12. So they were playing pretty good. Chaminade was playing pretty good baseball at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you beat a Westminster,
Yeah.
there you go. So Westminster, Parkway Central, that's Class 5. So you're in Class 5. You got that run there. So I think that'll be an interesting thing to watch Chaminade this year around this area, Class 5, see where they're going to be at this year. Then I want to go back to De Smet here real quick and look at their their schedule from last year. They were up and down. I mean, they win some, lose some. It's like here they had a 3-game winning streak, beating Summit, Vianney, and then a 3-game losing streak, Dominic, Marquette, Lafayette, which was a tough stretch there, man. Dominic, Marquette, and Lafayette. That's a pretty tough stretch of baseball. They beat Gateway Legacy Christian, beat Eureka, beat SLU. Had some struggles there at the end. Got into the district play. Actually, no, I don't see the district play here because it's just they have the loss to Timberland, Northwest Cedar Hill, and Hazelwood West. So I don't see the district play there for DeSmet. Oh.
But we talked about them a lot last year. Because
yes, we did.
Of the coach,
right?
The coach, and they were 500. They did fine. And for a first year coach taking over, but he's got, he's got Josh Cunningham, a good arm, 23, going to SLU.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got at least somebody he can run out there to compete against top teams.
Right.
And he'll have some Cardwell again, a Maryville arm, but he's got the arms to keep him in games. And I think if they can get some kids to come through that we're not talking about now, then they can compete. It's the same with Chaminade. I mean, the other kid that I thought of was the Houseworth kid going to Arkansas State, the infielder. So I mean, you'll find random kids that aren't top 10. Like CBC's got the top 3 of the top 10 kids. Again, you're building a program, you're building a culture, so we're playing as a team. And then now you have, we got a couple kids that are good D1 players, but now we've got all of our role guys also stepping up, which is what like the Francis Howell's done, and I think Zumwalt West has done a good job at.
And we've made this point before, and I think this is interesting as you're talking about that. You got CBC up there, they got 3 of the top kids, right? But then do you have a squad? How many of those kids that Arkansas State, then you see Division II, a Maryville, you're going to UCM or a Missouri Western, JUCO, and you got 10 of those kids spread throughout your team, you've got a pretty solid team
you
right
have
there.
Depth.
Right?
Yeah, it gives you depth, which is the key. So.
And I think, to me, that is a matter of development. And how are you bringing that along, and how are the kids working as far as development? And I think this is where the summer programs make a huge impact in how the kids are being developed.
Yes, but it goes back to, for these teams specifically, having the 2 JV teams or having the 2 freshman teams so they can get kids into the program. And, hey, maybe we overlooked this kid first year, and now he's sprouted and he's becoming a really good player at JV, or they're buying into what he's selling, or
right,
he's trying to turn the program into role guys. And that's when you're at a private school, you have the luxury of having all these kids to do this.
Yes, indeed. A school we haven't talked about much, I don't think, is we have talked about. I think we've hit everybody here. Vianney maybe not as much. Like I said, though, their class, their
25
roster,
class is good.
Yes.
Yeah, they got the Riker Benz and the Dorman, who's a catcher out of there. He's uncommitted, but he's a good player. And then
Wachowski.
Yeah, I can never pronounce his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, those 3 stand out specifically. There's another kid from there, like Andrew Anderson, who's a left-handed arm, and then a Ferguson kid who's an outfielder. I mean, those are good. Mm-hmm. I'm just pointing out the 25 crew that's coming up.
And yes, you see the name there, Charlie Spoonhour. That is the grandson of the late great Coach Spoonhour from.
Is it?
Yes, it is. I met him at the PBR event. Lauren was there. Super producer over there was there.
Producer Lauren.
Yep. Yeah, he goes, yeah, that's who I am. Because I'm sure he gets asked, but
he
it was
only
nice.
Gets asked it by people our age. Nobody else asks that.
Probably true. That's probably true. I got to meet this old guy. He's going to ask me.
Yeah.
Nice kid,
This
great
guy's got
kid.
gray. He's gonna ask if I'm related to Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
super producer Lauren didn't even know,
Exactly. There you go.
but she's only like 19. You're welcome. I'm just
It'll be interesting to see if these 2023s mesh with these younger guys.
I'd be curious to see how many of the younger ones play varsity.
I thinking that's going to be,
I would imagine a lot of them.
yeah. I mean, I would imagine Riker Benz is going to be in there. I would imagine Joe Zwickowski is going to be there. I don't know. That's up to the coach. Dave Stewart, I believe, is the coach there.
You gonna call him
We should.
and tell him what you think?
No, we'll get him on the show and ask him.
There you go.
And
Before tryouts, these kids made it.
right? And I think that's the key here. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of good talent. The biggest thing is showing the conferences, and what they're playing for. And I understand that they're in different districts and things of that nature. I get all that. But I do think, and it may just be, as you said, the coach, But if they're instilling, and I know there's a lot of kids that I know that's a goal in the GAC schools. It'll be interesting to see how they approach that, because they beat up on each other pretty good in this conference. I mean, with CBC, 6-2, but they took a couple losses there.
I mean, it's one of the tougher conferences, I think, in the St. Louis area, the east side of the state, because it's all private schools. It's just the amount of kids that are there, and it's not just the amount of kids, boys and girls, it's the amount of boys.
Right.
And you can actually recruit kids.
Exactly.
So, I mean, if I'm CBC and I got the best football kid at 6th grade at Matthew Dickey's, I'm going to try to get him to come to CBC.
There you go.
So it's the same concept for basketball, for everything.
And this right here, to me, shows how much depth in pitching this league has. In the league, their defense CBC gave up 3.5 an average, SLU 3.13. Vianney gave up the most at 5 runs a game. This is just conference. And Chaminade was at 3.88 and DeSmet 4.63. So the depth in
That's
pitching
pretty
shows,
low.
right?
That's pretty low.
For high school
Yes.
on an
Which,
average.
They're throwing their good arms against each other,
Yeah.
which is probably why all these schools actually do well when it comes to districts and the playoffs, because look at the arms that they've seen in conference all season.
And I think it showed, as you're saying, it showed when they went out into just the overall, their defense.
Their non-conference schedule is
Yeah.
hard, and they do well against the non-conference.
Exactly. So
And they're not throwing their big dogs non-conference.
Exactly.
So,
And I think that's true, when we talk about the GAC, that Tuesday, you got your number one going. So it's important to those guys. So I think it's the similar thing.
which is why it's always the game of the week.
He's not the best analyst for nothing here, folks.
I don't know if we go that far, but state the obvious, my friend.
Oh, mercy. But I know. I've been talking with Coach Canavan. We'll get him on, and we'll talk a little bit of baseball here this way. It'll be interesting. I know it's Coach Horn, Coach Stewart over at the other school. I haven't. Chris Chiburis, I guess, is how it would be pronounced at Chaminade, and then SLU is that's the B team. That's not it. Coach Ron Ramspot at SLU. So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but get him on.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to do a round table with those guys. That'd be fun. But
They may not want
we'll
to.
see. They may not want to. You never know. But anyway, so that's a look at the Metro Collegiate League. And I just got a text from our buddy Kevin, who couldn't make it. He'd sent me I don't look at too much email through the day because I'm doing a lot of production on today. But get better. He lost his voice.
So his wife's happy. Right?
Oh, man. You said that out loud.
I did.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, if I lost my voice, mine would be happy. So would yours.
No, my wife loves me. We talk a lot all the time. So there you go.
Your nose is hitting the microphone right now. It's growing.
No, man, it's good stuff. I always say that.
So
I kinda
before we
married-
end this session, we're going to take 10 minutes and we're going to do a life lesson / therapy session with you. So you're going to tell everybody how to be happy.
No, I just say I
Super
married
producer, go ahead
I
and
married
cut the
my
camera
wife
now.
because I married her because I loved her, cared about her, I like hanging out with her. So that's
Taking a
a
left
good
turn.
thing.
It's just one joke. One joke.
Just saying.
Cut all that out.
Oh, mercy. But Kevin, feel better. We'll hopefully have you back next week. As always, Matt Shadow dropping the knowledge. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Super producer, Lauren, thank you.
We'll be back next week, talk a little more conference baseball. It'll be fun. We got a lot of conferences. I'm looking forward to talking. I know we don't know as much, and that's where I'm hoping to try and get some of these coaches from the other side of the state on the show with us as we talk some of these conferences, because I think that'll be an interesting deal. And because as we said today, even with this here, this is in our own area, and we don't know as much about these teams.
Well, I just don't know a lot about the back end of the rosters. But yes, correct. Yep.
There you go. And so we're getting there. We're learning because we want to be the most comprehensive baseball talk in the area.
There you go.
It's the goal. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hey, hit that dinger right there. That'll get you all your notifications for upcoming episodes, because that's what we do around here. We hit dingers. Dingers for days. Also, if you're, and you're out and about and you got the earbuds in, check us out on Spotify. Check us out on iHeartRadio. We're there. You can go to our website, get the audio podcast. As you're working away there, just click the old button. It'll be right there for you. So we're working hard to make it available. We enjoy doing this, bringing you the most comprehensive baseball talk in the area. There you go. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
Hit them where they ain't.
good advice. We'll see y'all next time.